This week, I'm going to call it the Cohen Lemon Report because you're going to be leading it off because you have all of the news. I've been, when you're trying to do a business, I got a lot of paperwork going on. Plus, let me just say this. I can wear earphones on here and hopefully it doesn't distort my voice. Because sometimes, do you notice on Substack, like your voice gets distorted and it sounds like you have a lisp?
You know what? Actually, my mom asked me if I was doing Invisalign. And I said, no, my teeth are straight. Thank you. So she
Yeah.
turns around because I never had braces. So she says to me, really? So she goes, because sometimes I'm watching you and you sound like you have a lisp.
Yes, it's for some reason the audio on Substack does that, and there's something going on, this viral thing going around of me, but it's me, and I sound like Mike Tyson talking like this on the thing. It's crazy.
Well, somebody may have slowed it down, but I
Yeah,
think we have
what's
to get past your lisp problem and so on. You probably bit your tongue eating, maybe corn on the cob or something like that, right? You're out in the Hamptons, correct?
no? I'm at home. I live in New York City. What are you talking
Oh, I
about?
thought you were out in the Hamptons because that's my
No.
favorite thing. Cooking the corn on the cob on the grill. Nothing better
Yes,
than that. But while we're talking about,
August is corn month. Yeah, while we're talking about that, they're demolishing the White House.
well, forget about demolishing the White House. Breaking news. Dun dun dun
Okay.
dun dun. Don Lemon Cohen report going on right here. Breaking news, my friends. President Donald J. Trump just demanded that the Department of Justice pay him a whopping 230 million bucks as compensation for its criminal investigations of him after his first term in the White House ended. And that is reported by the New York Times. Trump has gone ahead and he has filed a claim against the DOJ for $230 million. Now, the New York Times also noted that any potential settlement might have to be approved by the people that he has appointed during his second term, one of whom, of course, is the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who, by the way, actually represented Trump as the defense attorney in the criminal case against him when he was president. So he submitted this complaint to the DOJ through what's called an administrative claim process that is often the precursor to lawsuits. So what you do is you put in the claim and you say, unless you pay me $230 million, Todd Blanche, unless you pay and authorize the payment of me for $230 million, I'm going to be forced as Donald Trump, individual and former president and current president, to file a lawsuit against the DOJ, which would be very, very bad.
And your point is?
My point is, I don't really have one. It's as crazy as the Luna HR bill to have Trump's face placed on Mount Rushmore. It's as crazy as the demolition of the White House right now, of the East Wing to the White House, in order to build a 90,000 square foot banquet hall, which of course will be named the Trump Pavilion, right next to the now concreted, marbled over Rose Garden, which is going to be approximately 2.5 or 3,000 feet away from what will be known as the Arc de Trump, which is to be similar to the Arch de Triomphe in France, to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So therefore, in honor of our 250 years as a democratic republic, what better name to call the arch than the Arc de Trump?
I can't wait for the next president to tear it down.
Well, you're certainly not going to tear down that 90,000 square foot ballroom. I mean,
They
maybe.
might if I became president of the United States. If you guys elected me president of the United States, I would tear it down and restore the White House. I'd be like, okay, so sorry, we're tearing this sucker down, and we're going to donate what we can out of it to charity or to Habitat for Humanity if there's any lumber or anything left over, and I would just tear it down. I wouldn't care what the people said, because you only get to be president for a short amount of time. What are they going to do? Nothing. You're president. So I would tear it down. But look, I get these stories are so outrageous, and I know you feel like this sometimes. Okay, let him do it. Some of these things I don't really care. Him
Well,
suing the Department of Justice, but the thing is him suing the Department of Justice. They're getting money. That's our money, so that is problematic. You know,
sure.
and, and
While our veterans aren't getting their salaries, while air traffic control
yeah,
individuals are being told that they need, because they're essential workers, to work without pay, the DOJ should pay Trump $230 million for an investigation that somehow, in my opinion, led to and assisted in him becoming president again for a second term. But you know what, Don? I actually feel like a very bad infomercial. Why, you may ask?
go on.
I'm waiting for you to say why.
Why? Why do you feel like a very bad infomercial, Michael?
Because wait, there's more. They hung a something like 50 by 50-foot banner on one of the buildings, the federal buildings, that he just decided to drop a banner with his likeness on it. On top of that, there's also the coin, the commemorative coin that's going to have his image on the front and the back. And then there's also one so far additional thing, I just don't know why I'm blanking on it, that will, of course, have Trump's. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Do we really need the Kennedy Performing Arts Center when now there's uh, a request out there to change it to the Trump Performing Arts Center? He's not just erasing legacy. He's not just erasing history. What he's doing is he's branding it one brick at a time. And you're right, Don. People are saying to themselves right now, okay, so what? So what? You know what? We have other more important things to worry about. Well, I'm not so sure, because America's history is exactly what we're going to be celebrating in just a few more months.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I understand. Yes, there are really important things. I care more about the shutdown. I do care about the White House. I mean, that to me, that was egregious. I can't believe that he's doing what he's doing with the White House. The House that is the most representative of the United States of America, even more so than the Capitol. If you show the White House, and that means America. It's the White House, the flag, and maybe the Capitol, or maybe the Brady Bunch house. I have no idea, but
Which just recently sold.
yeah, the Brady Bunch house. It used to be the Beverly Hillbillies house, but I'm just saying. Um, See, I do, but what can you do about it? Elections have
Well, the answer is
consequences.
you can't do anything about it right now, considering he didn't even wait for authorization within which
From
to
right.
start demolishing. He demolished the East Wing of the White House. And the part that I'll tell you that I was particularly offended by is today in the Rose Garden, atop all of the concrete and the marble flooring that they have there, the terracotta or whatever they used, you had all of the Republican senators there.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump, in his usual style, which is very funny, by the way, um, made jokes about getting rid of the grass. He
Mm-hmm.
made jokes about the 90,000 square foot ballroom, and that the White House was really not being maintained properly. Is there anybody here with us, Don, that believes that the United States government, whether it was under Joe Biden or Trump before him or Obama before him, is there anybody that actually believes that the White House was being neglected? Now,
Mm-mm.
sure, the bathrooms were old. I grant you that. But this is the White House. And before any one person takes it amongst themselves to do a renovation, there are processes and procedures because it's more than just a building. It's more than even just the symbol. It's what America meant. Remind me, Don, who built the White House?
Yeah, well, slaves.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
right.
poor people.
And you think maybe that we want to preserve that part of America's history in the
No,
creation of that magnificent building?
he doesn't care. I think once he's gone, and and look, this past weekend gave me some hope, gives me hope, um, that the people who will vote against him, or whether he might try to be on the ticket, but that's what they're saying, or whoever's running against him as a MAGA person, that people are just fed up. They'll go, no, we're not doing this. And the next person, if we can hang out for that long, we don't know, because you see what happened in the midterms. Who was it that just was it Ohio or somewhere that just passed? Let me see. Added another seat to the pile, right? To their, and so the midterms are not going to be, it is North Carolina State Senate approves new congressional map in effort to add a seat. So they're trying to add a seat. All these states are adding a seat. So they're trying to ensure that they win, come 2026
So, it's
during the
funny that you
midterms.
say that because while they're doing all of this, I read this fantastic article. I think it was also part of the New York Times. It was a while back. They said that the Republicans are underestimating the independent voters and even the Republican non-MAGA voter in the redistricting maps that they're trying to set up. You know, James Carville, I think, is the one who said it and said it best when he said, "It's the economy, stupid." That's all people are caring about. If you
Yeah.
can't afford groceries and medication, you can't afford to give your kid some money because the school class is going on a trip, on a field trip, and you just can't afford to send them. You really think that you give a shit whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, especially when you start seeing the Democrats turning around and saying, we're the ones that are fighting for your money. We're the ones that are trying to avoid and have been trying to avoid this government shutdown. We're the ones that are telling you that tariffs are taxes and that consumers pay tariffs. It's not all of a sudden that Amazon just decided that they were going to raise prices by 20%, or Myers or any of the other big box stores, the Walmarts, the Costco's. No, it's because they're trying to contend with tariffs. What happens when that item that you needed to buy for your kid for back to school shit is now 25 or 50% more than it was before, but now you don't have money within which to pay for it? I read this crazy statistic too, Don, that prior to all of this tariff nonsense, Americans, for the most part, in their purchases of going back to school, were using their debit cards. They left money in
Oh,
their
wow.
account within which to pay, meaning you are paying with your own money. Your debit card is like having cash in your pocket, but not a credit card. A credit card is you're borrowing the money within which to pay for a good that you want today. Now, if you have the money, when the 30 days come due, you pay it off. There's no interest. But what if you don't? What if you don't have it, right? Then what do is you ration it out month to month until you pay it off. So
Hmm.
you're buying goods today with borrowed money.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And when Americans start getting deeper and deeper into debt, cannot pay their mortgages, cannot pay for their car payments or the gas or their insurance, health coverage, the biggest issue of them all. Does it really matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent when you get sick and you need to be in the hospital? Do you think that the doctor turns around and says, you know, hey, Mr. Lemon, are you Republican, Democrat, or independent before I treat you? You ever have that happen to you?
No, but in this day and age, I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Well, you could then take that and add that to the nonsensical and ridiculous statements that came out of the Trump administration and Trump himself, where he turned around and said that he was shutting down Democratic programs. Now, not one decent journalist, I know what you would have asked immediately. Can you tell us what programs you're referring to? What
Mm-hmm.
is a Democratic program? Well, there is no such thing. And so they're trying to now stretch it like you stretch toffee. And they're claiming, for example, this tunnel here in New York that connects, New York and New Jersey, to do this expansion work that was supposed to be like, I don't know, 10, $15 billion, that they now defunded it, including like the Second Avenue subway, which was supposed to go up all the way to the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
They're defunding it. And they're saying they're defunding it because it's a Democratic program. Can somebody
How's it a
please tell
Democratic
me?
program? It runs through the Upper East Side. It's like the most expensive neighborhood in the city, the richest
It's
people in the city.
also highly Republican as well. And so is parts of New Jersey. And not every single person that lives in Manhattan, all right, whether it's downtown or all the way to uptown, are Democrats. So you're willing to sacrifice Republicans that stood with you, that voted for you, that donated to you, so that you could shut down a tunnel reconstruction program that affects your constituents, your voters, your Republican compadres as well. Where's the logic in that?
There's no logic. There's no logic in that, and there's no logic if we can get back to the White House and everything that you're saying. This is really a let them eat cake moment. He's so proud. He's doing. What do you need a fucking ballroom for? You need a ballroom for because you want to have big fancy parties. You want to pretend you're the king. You want whatever. That's not what the White House is really about. I mean, there are state dinners there, but the White House is not about big freaking balls where you can, there are places that you can do that. You can rent it out. You can have it on the, in the Capitol if you want, in a rotunda or something if you want to do that, if you want to have a big fancy party. But it's a let them eat cake moment. He doesn't care that the government is shut down, that air traffic controllers aren't getting paid, that there aren't enough air traffic controllers even to keep the skies safe, that there are control towers that go without controllers or people watching for hours, that people are in danger, that there are many other people around the country who are either being furloughed or on the verge of being furloughed or on the verge of losing their jobs. People are rationing medicine. People are cutting back on food because it's so expensive. Gas is expensive. Everything is expensive. And we were led to believe, not we were led to believe, he told people, and the people who fell for it, who voted for him, that he was going to lower the prices immediately, that America was going to be great again immediately. None of that happened. He was going to end the wars in, a matter of hours. Okay, there is a peace deal or a ceasefire. I should say peace deal. There's a ceasefire that's on life support right now. And that both sides have been firing. So it's not a ceasefire to me because both sides have been firing.
Yeah, but Don, don't worry. Don't worry. You got Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
It's going to be great. Yeah. It's going to be great. But the thing is that no one is reporting like, hey, the ceasefire has been, broken. No one is reporting that. No one, like people are not, I can't believe people aren't outraged about the White House. It's like some of these things I think like, him suing the Justice Department. All right, okay, let him do. But there's some things that are symbolic like the White House that really bothers me. It does bother me about him suing the Justice Department because we're paying for it. But there's part of me, honestly, if you guys really want to know the truth, there's part of me that's like, you FAFO. You fucked around and you found out. This is, or you didn't go to the polls. Or you voted for a third-party candidate. Or you talked shit about someone had to be too perfect in order for you to vote for them. Or you pretended that you couldn't vote for a woman because a woman couldn't do it. Whatever it was. Elections have consequences. And so this is what you have. And here's the really terrible thing. The people, and it's going to sound awful, but it's the truth. The people with means, Michael, the people who have somewhat privilege, even if you're, upper middle class or a bit more, you're going to be just fine. You're going to make out like bandits under this administration. But working class and poor people, or are not. People who are in a certain tax bracket pay percentage-wise less than people who are poor and working class in this country. And that's because of the very person that they voted for. The same thing, the very person, the people that the farmers voted for. So that's what you get. You effed around and you found out. And so,
Don,
there you
in
go.
my Substack, and I hope every single one of you have had a chance to read it. It's History Has Left the Building. That's
Oh,
what I call
when
history.
did you put that up?
This morning at
Oh, I want to read that.
seven
I want to
o'clock
read
this
that.
morning. History has left the building. There's a paragraph that I just want to read to you because I think it summarizes everything that Dee and I are talking about here. Think about it this way. Like any master illusionist, Trump knows the trick is to make us look the other way. We're distracted by the chaos, tariffs, foreign standoffs, government shutdowns, skyrocketing prices. We're watching the noise. And while we're watching, he's quietly changing the scenery. And I mean literally. See, the White House is no longer the people's house. It's his newest development. Construction crews are busy reshaping it in his image. I mean, there's the Presidential Walk of Fame that he recently unveiled along the West Wing colonnade, featuring plaques for presidents that he deems worthy of honor. And unsurprisingly, Trump's plaque is clearly the largest. And nearby demolition has now begun on parts of the East Wing to make room for what will be a $250 million ballroom, a vanity project that he describes as the most beautiful
Mm-hmm.
ballroom in the world. I mean, you could almost hear him saying it, right? The chin tilted up, basking in the glow of his own reflection. I can go on and on and on about this, but here's the problem. Every time we say nothing, every time we do nothing, every time we sit back and we go, oh God, yuck, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do about it?
Right.
It's exactly what they want. They want your apathy. And you know what? As a segue into it, or as Trump would say, the weave, we're going to weave it into the No Kings rally. 7 million Americans did something. And let me be crystal clear. That was a great day, the largest rally in American history, but it's not enough. Not enough by a long shot.
That's very good, Michael. Can I read something since we're talking about Substacks?
Yeah.
You talked about history. I didn't, because I did on one of the shows, I did so much on the White House and what it means for America. It's just said Trump destroys everything, right? This is just a symbol of how he's destroying the country, democracy, norms, truth, reality, all of that. Okay. Here's the thing though. And I wrote about, have you been paying attention to Vivek Ramaswamy?
Yes.
Like going around and he's running for governor, and he just keeps running into people who are saying, I'm not going to vote for you because, either you're brown, you're Indian, or you're Hindu, right? And so I wrote something on Substack about it. And one of the paragraphs, my friend said, you know what? This is a pretty tough assessment, but it is true. So I'm just going to read a partial paragraph from it because I'm going
Please.
to do a fuller thing on it. I said, Ramaswamy's denial of racism is not brave. It is transactional. He has built a career telling white conservatives that they are the true victims and that their guilt is unnecessary because racism is over. But the irony is that he has become exactly what Malcolm X once warned us about, a modern day house Negro, defending the master's house as if it were his own, mistaking the invitation for ownership. This is the bargain Ramaswamy struck when he chose to make himself the Republican Party's mirror rather than its conscience. He thought he could transcend identity by rejecting it, that by loudly disavowing diversity, he could prove his own
Yep.
belonging. He confused proximity with acceptance.
Damn straight.
Right? I'd go on, but I see it for what it is. It's racism. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just pointing out, Vivek, they don't want you because you're not white. And you need to wake up to that reality and stop denying that there's systemic racism in this country, or like people, even like you, are not discriminated against, because you are. So wake up and, get into reality.
Yeah, well,
Does
listen,
he have a chance to win?
no, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
First of all, he's also very much disliked, not just by Democrats, but even by his own party, because there were some pretty negative things that he had said at one point in time about Trump as well. Now it's funny because so did J.D. Vance, but yet for some reason, maybe because J.D. Vance is the prototypical couch fucking MAGA moron with 4 teeth and 3 brain cells, that they forgive him when he called, Trump America's Hitler. He was actually one of the first to come out and say shit like that. And many Republicans, including like Marco Rubio, who's now sitting by Trump's side at that stupid table of, flatulation. I mean, it's just beyond ridiculous that the guys who are nastiest, that he was nasty to them, they were nasty back. They, for whatever it is, have been given a pass. But Ramaswamy, for exactly the reasons that you say, will never get that same treatment. And yet he thought that he could obnoxious his way out of being part of racism.
Yeah, and he didn't. Listen, I would suggest that everyone go and read the post that I have on Vivek Ramaswamy. It is on Substack. It's called Vivek Ramaswamy: The Guest in Their House: The Limits of White Approval. But I did. Have you ever done one of those tests where you can, where the reader gets to pick you can test different headlines for the story? I
No,
did
how do
that
you do
today.
it? Tell me how to do that.
When you're putting it on, it'll say, run a headline test. And so you can write a couple of different headlines, and then it'll put on the one that people rate
And
the
this is
most.
on Substack?
This is on Substack. When you're posting your thing, look for the one. Well, you know what it says. Who do you want it to go to? Your paid subscribers or your what?
Right?
In that one thing, there's a thing in the boxes
Drop
on that
down.
page. It's not the drop down, but in the different selections on that page, you will see one that says test headlines.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, check it out. But we'll
Yeah.
have to table it, Michael, right here. We'll have to end it here, and let's hope they don't completely destroy the White House, because once you start messing with an old building like that, you know how it is. You touch one thing, and then another thing breaks, and then another thing breaks, and everything's all connected. So there you go.
I mean, yeah, so please, just so you get a full understanding, because it's not when I was saying to Don before, but wait, there's more. There's also a bill that's been introduced. I think it's
Oh
by
Lord.
right, to put Trump's image on Mount Rushmore. I mean, you start putting this all together. This is not, making America great again. It's basically making Trump again. This
Mm.
is not making a nation. This is branding a nation. And this is where, as I finished it, because Trump doesn't live in history, he builds over it. And that's what he's doing. So please, read my Substack as well. If you are a subscriber to me, please subscribe to Don Lemon. It's phenomenal. I watch his shows. Sometimes he doesn't even know that I'm in there. He basically ignores me, but that's okay. That's how our friendship has been for a long time. If you're a Don Lemon supporter and a subscriber, please subscribe to mine. You can go right up there to the very top to the Chiron that's moving. You just
Not for the people who are watching it on YouTube.
right. Not for those people. You got to actually go to Substack. But
Yeah.
Don, thank you, brother. You stay
All right.
safe. Be
All
well,
right.
and we got a lot more to discuss.
We'll see you next week, Michael. Talk to you soon, brother.
Always, pal.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.